everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. We are just about to interview the pop R&B singer-songwriter, Mr. Howard Hewett, who is who is known for singing in the group Shalimar, bringing us songs like For the Lover and You, I'm For Real, all of those great songs that they delivered back in the day. And we're so thrilled to have him as our guest today. So you guys, on the other side, Mr. Howard Hewett. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Black Link Magazine. My name is Marva B, and you have entered the Black Link experience. We're so excited to have our special guest, Mr. Howard Hewett, is here with us. You guys know him previously from Shalimar, and he's done multiple other things. He's a Grammy award-winning artist, and we just want to welcome you, Howard, to Black Link Magazine.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours as well. We appreciate that. We're ready for time off. So,
oh yeah.
So let's just get right into the interview. We know you from Shalimar. We know all the things that you've done, but recently, you know, your new song, To Thee I Pray. And I want to talk about the inspiration behind that, especially in these times that we're living. It just seems so relevant. If you want to go ahead and introduce that and what your thoughts were behind that.
Well, To Thee I Pray actually is a song that I wrote and recorded actually over 30 plus years ago. And yeah, it's on the Allegiance album, the last album I did with Elektra. Yeah, so we did, I started writing a few things or recording a few things with this writing team called Wave 3 Pop. And there's couple young cats, you know, at the time, because we recorded this about 7 months, 8 months before the pandemic. Wow. And so, like, you know, I took my daughter actually, you know, next oldest daughter said, you know, you remember that song, To Thee I Pray? She said, you should look at that again, especially for today, you know, and so I brought it to the guys and they did a flip on the track, but I kept the lyrics and the melody basically the same. And unfortunately, you know, these lyrics, I wrote them 30 plus years ago, but they still ring true today. Yes. You know, there's a call, you know, it's a call to examine the way that we treat each other, the way that we, you know, approach each other, the way that we the way that we respect each other. And, you know, it's a call to examine that and look at that and say, hey, you know, Lord, you know, we need to learn how to live together. We need to learn how to love each other. You know, like a lyric says, comes a time in life when you make a stand, put down your gun and take your brother's hand. Yeah. After all the pain, I know no other way. Wow. You know, to thee I pray. So, wow. You know, and so we flipped the track and we, you know, I kept the melody, like I said, and the lyrics basically the same. And it turned out to be an amazing experience and something that's very important to say today. You know, today it's like, you know, we're on the heels now of the Ahmaud Arbery, you know, verdict coming in. Georgia once more, you know, when we did a call out to Georgia some months ago about, you know, Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff situation to fill those 2 seats, and Georgia stepped up. And once again, Georgia steps up and is trying to like right these wrongs that exist, you know, in our society, and being permeated in our society by such, you know, divisive forces that were over this whole situation as far as the last administration is concerned. So, you know, we have to take the reins of this whole thing. You know, we have to do it. And there was a question I posed, you know, the other day about the fact that we know what the deal is. as far as biblically, we know what the deal is. We know our path, what's happening, what do we do, and we know the fate of our situation as far as certain things are concerned. But does that mean that we stop trying to make it better? And one of the examples that I brought up was like the enemy, our enemy, the enemy himself. He knows what his fate is. He knows that at the end of the day, he's going to be thrown into a situation and just obliterated. But that doesn't stop him from going and like it says, trying to devour and gather as many people down his bottomless pit as he can. He's busy too. So we should be busy in making our society better while we're still here.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Oh my, the interview's over. You said it all. You have
Yeah.
said it all. Like, we're living in these times, and you're right. The devil, he's going to show up, but we got to do our part. What is our part to try to make it better? And how are we treating each other? It's just, that's what we exist over for Black Link Magazine. It's about how we're treating people, and we're living by our morals and values. And what can we do to make it better? Just our part, because we can't save the world. And so when I listened to the song, it just resonated. So my question to you would be, while you wrote that 30 years ago, did not know that.
Mhm.
What if anything did you learn about yourself in these times when you went back and listened again? Was it anything that you learned about yourself or that you wanted to change about you?
There's always things that you can change about yourself, and always things that you can do better, and you can, try and understand things better. So I'm always on a quest to like try and figure that whole thing out. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
at sometimes there's periods you have to take periods of your life, times in your life where you just kind of sit back and take and scope everything that's been happening so far, where you are so far. And it's like that's like a book. I've started playing around with ideas as far as the title of my book when I write my book, and it's going to be My Life dot dot
Wow.
dot so far.
Yes, yes, I
you
love
know
it.
because we're all in always in that work in progress type of mode, you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And when I look at myself back, when I wrote the lyrics and up to where we are now, I mean, it's like I'm still observing things. I'm still growing as a human being, as a man, I've come like they say, and I hate to sound cliche-ish, right? I've come a long way, but I got a long way to go.
That's right.
So, but every day that you wake up is another day that God has blessed you with to
Mhm.
get closer to what this whole thing is about,
Yeah.
which is about Him, God, Christ, and Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And so I thank God every day of waking up. When I wake up, I say, okay, Lord, there's still more for me to do. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I try to, as much as I can, every day I'm in the Word, I'm trying to figure out, different things, how our relationships with each other are so important, and how we relate to each other is so important.
Yeah.
So, that's why I tried. As far as like where I was then, of course, I was a kid. I was, like a kid, like a kid then. But, you know, but um, but like I said, unfortunately, the lyrics still ring true today.
That's right. Oh gosh, you just touched my spirit because
Mm.
it's so true. And for us, every day that we are alive, there's something for us to be doing. With this song, what's next for you? Like, are you continuing to record? What's going on with Howard these days, other than
Well, we have something's beeping over
I hear
here.
it? Yeah.
This is among about 10 or 12 tunes that I've accumulated for this next project. But right now, the way that people do things now is like you put out singles, so You know,
Yeah.
it's like you put singles out and then later on maybe do an EP
Yes.
or an album or something. But right now we're in the midst of just releasing singles. There's a bunch
Right.
of bunch of stuff that I wanted to say that I worked on before the pandemic. I didn't write so much during the pandemic because, I write love songs, and I wasn't
Yeah.
seeing a whole lot of love at that time
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. And
So,
yeah, and
so
that was going to be my question. How did the pandemic, other than, affected all of our lives, indirectly, directly, it affected us. But what did you do during that time? So now you're saying you didn't really write because you write love songs, but did you take the time to just kind of dig deep within Howard and say, okay, find out who I am really at this point and what am I going to do next? Did
it
you do
was,
that?
it was the perfect time to do that. And it was almost like God said, okay, Howard, I'm going to remove everything from you that can distract you from me. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And things just fell away from me. And then, I was engaged. I'd been engaged for about 6 years, and then, about a month or so before the pandemic, we decided to
Oh,
end that whole thing.
yeah.
That was a situation that, a distraction. It might have been a distraction.
That's right.
One of my best partners, known him since I was 20 years old. He's like my big brother. He passed away like April, the day after Easter in April of 2020. And so then, but I had been throughout my career, I've been through, death within the whole thing. I've been through breakups within the whole thing. Some of the saddest times in my life had been spent on stage, as like, is like when my dad passed, I did the home going and all that, but I was back on the road. I was on the road.
Yeah.
My mom passed, did the home going. I'm back on the road. I've
Yeah.
been married 3 times. Okay. So, it's
Hey.
like, so hey, but the breakups, the breaking up, I was still on the road. So the Lord said, okay, I'm gonna remove that from you as well.
Mm.
So because it came a time like in April of 2020, we couldn't even go out and work. We
Yeah.
couldn't go out and work.
No
You
work.
can't go out and perform in front of 5 people or
Right.
whatever, even if they
Right.
allowed that. So like the next question in my spirit at that time was, now what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And when I built my house here, I had them build a big deck off of my master bedroom,
Right.
and starting in April, towards the end of April 2020, I started every morning. I started from the book of Genesis,
Yeah.
and I read all the way. About 2 months ago, I read the last two chapters in Revelation, and
Wow.
I went through. It was a journey. It was a journey that the Lord and I took that whole time. I mean, every morning I can roll out of bed, and within 5-6 steps, I'm out on this balcony on my deck, looking at the mountains and the whole thing. So that was me in the Lord's sanctuary every day. Every
Yes.
day I was on there, and every day it was like I mean, during that time, I mean,
Yeah.
he tore me down. He tore me down, built me up. He tore me down. He built me up, tore me down, built me up. I had never cried so many tears in my
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, praise God, were tears of joy, because you realize that he loves us,
Oh,
and you
that's right.
realize where we stand and where we are in his we're children of God. I'm the king's
Amen.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
my mom used to say, boy, you the king's kid, and
That's
I'm the
right.
king's kid. So it's like, you realize the glory of where we stand, and the type of promises that he's made to us. Yeah, the word is filled with promises from God.
Yes.
Ephesians, Psalms 37, 4, delight yourself in my word, and I will give you the petitions and the desires of your heart. It's
Yes.
not saying, it's not saying might give you the petitions, I might give you the
That's
desire.
it.
It's this desire, delight. And in Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, you know? And it's like,
It's
what
all
I love
facts.
about that scripture is that it doesn't say no weapon will be formed against you.
It's
You know
that's
what I'm
right.
saying?
It said it
But
would
no
not
weapon
prosper.
formed against you shall prosper.
Right.
And the Bible is filled, the word is filled with those promises, but you got to get in there and do the work and do your due diligence and get in there and find those promises and apply them to your life. So, I mean, that's the way, because I would always say through the years, you have New Year's, you have New Year's resolutions and all that. And people say, what's your New Year's resolution? And just as a rote answer, a lot of times through the years, I'd say to get closer to God,
Yes.
But this time,
Yes.
I really got closer to God.
Yes. It's a difference. Yeah.
It's a difference of putting in the work and the real work, and not just lip service work.
That's right.
And so, like, now it's like a every day. That's my everyday thing. Before I get started in the day, I spend some time with the Lord, and in the Word, and praising Him and glorifying Him and thanking Him for so many blessings in my life.
So I want to ask you this question. Babyface said that if there's anybody in this business that's singing that you are one of the finest, your voice is one of the finest. What do you say to that? Like, that's amazing.
I'm flattered, especially from talent like Face. Kenny and I go way back. Before he and LA were started really doing a lot of productions and stuff. They were straight in from Ohio, I think it was. They're from Cincinnati, I believe. Uh-huh. But I remember Face, peddling his music, bringing songs and stuff for people to listen to see if they want to do his stuff. And we did get a chance to work together, me and him in LA at one time, but the stuff we worked on never came out because of political reasons and stuff. But it was still the work that was put in was amazing, and a part of my repertoire life, I guess, for lack of a better word, to put in my little toolbox of experience stuff. So but he's coming from Face. I really appreciate that, because I have the utmost respect for him and what he's done.
Well, congratulations is due. If you're in your hometown, they're taking Cadillac Boulevard and turning it to Howard Hewett Jr. Way.
Yeah.
Is that right? Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. It was Cadillac Boulevard. It's the street. The Cadillac Boulevard is only about maybe 5 or 6 blocks long, but it was a street that I grew up on, and I didn't want them to just take Cadillac Boulevard away. I wanted it to be, because even when I was a kid, I used to think how cool it was that I lived on Cadillac Boulevard. You know what I'm saying? And so so we started talking about that whole situation about a year before COVID. And of course, when COVID hit, everything kind of went by the wayside. But what we talked about, I told him, if we're going to do this, I want to do it now, because I want to be able to get in the car and drive down Howard Hewett Jr. way, not in a hearse. I want to be driving.
Exactly. Be able to celebrate while you're here.
Exactly. And there's only a couple more people, I think, in Akron that have a street named after them, and they're still alive. And LeBron is one of them. And I can't remember who they was. It was another lady. But they're starting to do a lot of those things, which is really, really commendable for my community there, because there were so many people that were real advantageous to, the growth of Akron.
Yeah.
And back in the day, my mom and my mom being one of them, she was involved in the politics and the radio situation and all
Wow.
that stuff back in
Yeah.
Akron. So, that was a big deal. Like our president now, when he was vice president, he said that was a big effing deal. That was a big effing deal.
Fine. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed you. Before we go, I'm gonna let you go. Music has changed, from way back then when we, were listening to music, and now it's all about the streams. So
Mhm.
congratulations on the over 5 million views that you got on YouTube, right? Like that's
Oh,
hard to do. I have like what 8.9, trying to get there, right? 9,000, whatever. But congratulations on that, because it's not easy to do. But when it's someone like Howard Hewett, that's you can get that. But 5 million is a big deal. What are you saying? And I always ask my artists today when I talk to them, what is your take on, the streaming and how it is today compared to what it was? Because even like there's no even, to me, I don't think there's even any artist development like it used to go on before. What is your take on how music is done today compared to how it was done previously?
Well, I think that the way that it's done today lends itself to people being able to cut out the middleman, as far as the record companies are concerned. Record companies had so much control over an artist's career, and sometimes it wasn't. It was a good thing, and sometimes it wasn't so good. But I believe that now, with all the technology, with all the internet, with all everything, social media, being able to build your numbers up on social media, being able to, get in there and deal with internet radio and all that kind of stuff, it puts control more in the artist's hands. Like, I believe if you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and you're breaking in this business, and a record company, a major record company comes, and says that they want to, invest in you. Okay, that's cool, but let them invest so far. Make sure that your contracts that you sign aren't contracts that keep you tied up for years and years and years. Just make sure that it keeps you tied up to the point where you build up your audience, and then you take things in your own hands and start your own company and start your, have your numbers out there. Because it's all about, even if you look at, even if major record companies are looking at you at this point, it's like, their first thing they're going to ask is, what are your social media numbers?
Yeah.
How many followers do you have?
Yeah.
And so, so like continue to build that up. I look, everybody has their take, oh, music business is this, the music business is that, music is this, music is that.
Yeah.
But there's so much, I think, advantage to having, if you really take the time out to really do your due diligence, do your research, do your studying, and figure out how to move your career along within these social media, internet boundaries that we have now. And as far as the music is concerned that's out there now, I mean, I think there's some great stuff out there now. You just gotta sift through all the bull crap, and so like I when I'm signing autographs and stuff at different venues, especially before, we haven't gotten back to the meet and greet thing yet.
Yeah.
COVID, but before, when we do the meet and greets and I sign autographs and all that, people say, I haven't heard anything new from you. And I'm like, it's out there. You got to go on the internet and find it, Oh, well, it's hard for me to even work my cell phone. Well, you should learn how to work your cell phone. And you should learn how to maneuver through this technology. It's not like we're going to wake up tomorrow and the headlines are going to be, technology is over. We're going back to what, it's going to keep progressing, keep getting more and more and more. And if you can't keep up, you're going to be left behind as far as
That's right.
So
I
yeah.
always, my son is 18, and you mentioned that age group, and he wants to be in this business. I try to keep him out of it because of what I hear about the business. I'm like, no, let's find something else. But because he has a love for it, I want to support him. But what is your take? So I think what I'm hearing from you is that independent is great. Being an independent artist is great to build, and if someone wants to get you, then make sure it's not forever contract, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just do your due diligence. But I always say, nope, let's not do this. Let's not get in this business. I don't want to even be bothered with this business. But I can't stop him. So yeah, yeah.
Well, I have a son also that's been amazing as far as like his production and his writing and all that, and his
Mm-hmm.
vocally also. He has an amazing voice and stuff. And it's like the business can be cruel, and
Yes.
it can be crazy, and it can be, especially when you have, because that's myself and my ex-wife, Nia Peoples' son, and
Yeah.
um, and so like he goes by Chris Hazel, Hayzel.
Uh-huh.
Says, well, I don't want to ride on you and mom's coattails. I'm like, boy,
Uh-huh.
you better grab on them
Do what you
coattails.
can. I was like, that's his advantage. Like my son got me. I just do a magazine. But he
But
had,
it's amazing because he's such an amazing musician and stuff. I always say, if I was even half the musician he was, I'd be sitting up here, nose all up in the air and
in
everything.
there. Well, he didn't have a choice but to get that from his mom and his dad. So he was like, it's almost like he was going to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's him and my next oldest daughter. She dibbled and dabbled initially, and now she's back in the studio again.
All right.
Doing some stuff. So
Cool.
yeah, so just like my other kids, my oldest daughter, she's into dance and
Oh,
all forms
okay.
of dance, and my youngest just got her master's in psychology.
Congratulations
So
on
thank
that.
you,
That's tough. Yeah. Well, it
yeah.
seems like all of your children are doing well. I just have two, an 18 and a 12-year-old. My 12-year-old, she's just here. She's just happy to be here.
She's just being
She'll
12 years
figure it
old.
out. Yeah. 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 Well, anyway, Howard, it was so good to meet you. It was
Meet
so
you
good
too.
to talk to you. It really did me some good today, and I
Good.
appreciate that. Just go ahead and tell the people where they can find you on all social media sites.
Social media, social media is about everything now, and everything's about social media now. And then the Facebook.com/Howard Hewitt fan page. You got to go on. There's a private page also that personal page rather,
Right.
but I'm not on there that often. I do most of my stuff on the fan page, Howard
Right.
Hewitt fan page, and Hewett, not
Okay.
ITT.
Okay.
So, and then Instagram page is Howard_Hewitt,
Right.
and you can find I do a lot of stuff on the fan page, on the Facebook fan page. We do this thing that I started in the beginning of the pandemic called FACC and life, which means fresh air, cardio, conversation, and all that leads to life with communication and understanding with each other. So we get on there. I get on there most every day, even now today, uh, and we just talk about a lot of stuff. It started out
Wow.
with me really coming on there and really pushing the whole situation of like, this virus, thrives on low immune systems. It
Yeah.
thrives on vitamin D deficiencies and
Yeah.
stuff. And when in the beginning of this thing, they said, we got to be shut in, but just because we were shut in didn't mean we had to be couch potatoes.
That's
So
right.
then I started
I turned
going
into
out.
one.
No, when it first started out, I jumped out on my bike and I started riding, around there.
Yeah.
They got a 15-20 mile route that you can take around here, and then get out there, ride. And then I decided one day to go on live. I stopped and took a little break and said, let me go on live, my
Yeah.
Facebook. And I went on live and all these people started flooding in, and it was like crazy. So, that's what started the FACs.
So, so that's on your Facebook fan page, or it's different? Okay, I'm
No,
gonna go. I'm gonna go join. I'm gonna go like it.
yeah, you can. Most of them, most of the FACCs are documented on there. You know, and
Okay.
back in, you know, I used to start. I started out also when the pandemic first set in, first happening, started happening. I went on every Friday night. I would do this thing called shut in mini concert series, and
Oh,
you
you
know,
see it?
yeah,
Oh,
and
I gotta go find it.
yeah, you can find. I stopped doing those mostly a lot. You know, the
Yeah.
last like few months or 4 or 5 months because I'm back out on the road again.
Right.
So you know,
Well,
but
I've been a fan forever, so I'm gonna go check it out. Thank you for being here, you guys. We're gonna go for now, but in the meantime, remember, respect yourself, respect each other. God bless.